Hello and welcome to another edition of Musicview on WNYU FM. I'm Tim Sommer, and tonight our guest on Musicview is Jools Holland of his Illustrious Millionaires or something like that. Right, Jools?
Well, Jools Holland and his millionaires, in fact.
Not his Illustrious Millionaires.
No, they're not. So, yes, that's right. And radio listeners out there in Radioland, we'd like you to welcome to this informative half-hour chit-chat in which I shall be giving my views upon the universe and how to improve it.
Should we mention who the millionaires are? I mean, who isn't here other than yourself, Jools?
Well, those are not fortunate enough to be here tonight. There are Michael Pace, the incredible saxophonist, who bears a striking resemblance to John Denver. Martin T. Deegan, the amazing drummer who many wish they could play like. And Little Tafe, who's a 17-year-old boy wonder genius from a slum in Wales. And our two girl singers, the fabulous Wealthy Tarts.
They're fairly recent additions to the band, right?
About a year they've been with us now.
But they weren't always part of the Millionaires, right?
No, not at the very beginning. In the early days, no, we didn't realise that we needed girl singers.
No, but now you realise you do need girl singers, and a whole new wealth of entertainment has been opened up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jools, you seem to like America an awful lot. You seem to be here all the time.
Well, you see, the thing is, with being in a band, half your time's taken up with recording or writing songs, and the other half with touring. And England not being a particularly large place geographically, you can tour it in about a month or a month and a half. Whereas America being so much larger than that, it takes a lot longer to tour it all. And also, once you've started, you could, in theory, go on forever, because by the time you've come back round again to where you were, you could sort of start again. But I suppose I spend maybe 3 months a year here.
Yeah.
Or 4 months a year, I suppose. But at this particular moment in time, we were supposed to be touring here with XTC.
But lo and behold, Mr. Partridge has something wrong with his stomach, so...
As well, some would say his stomach, others would say something wrong with his foot, because we think that's where his brain might have been. But the whole tour was cancelled because of his ailments. I mean, we'd like to personally thank him a bunch. You see, the trouble is that actually, we're very friendly with him, really. And when I say that he's a sick git, I mean that in a very kindly way at the time. But it's unfortunate that because when you come over to tour, you need a tour to keep the momentum of your album going, to try and make your album happen. And
a good time to mention you do have a new album out, right?
Good time to mention, yes. So lucky people out there. And it's said that great luck will befall anybody who goes out and buys a copy.
This is an old proverb.
An ancient proverb that runs back through the Holland family. That the first to buy the first album, or like the firstborn of me, if you buy that album, it's best to buy two, really. You wear one on your head and play the other one. And it's said great luck will befall any man that does that. Sort of a mystical charm to it from the far east of England. But unless you have a tour to promote your album, then you're a little bit sort of intercourse, as it were, because you need to. The radio stations won't play you unless you sort of appear to be happening or nearby, and so you need to actually build up the momentum. And if you suddenly stop the tour or don't do the tour, your album tends to get forgotten about, unless you're a known and respectedly huge act, which we are to a certain extent, but not a very great extent.
Yeah. So you found touring in America basically, has it been rewarding, or?
Yes, it has been. I mean, it varies wherever we go, because I mean it's such a big place. Things can be different everywhere. But we played the other day to an open air crowd of about 2,000 people.
Where was that?
In Passaic. No, it's Passaic. What am I talking about? In Providence, yes. And we will be, in fact, we'll be in Passaic tonight. So if you're listening and you're lucky enough to own a car or a push bike, I'd cycle out and run off to Passaic, where we are opening for Graham Parker this very evening.
By tonight we mean Friday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today is Friday, isn't it?
Yes, today is Friday, that's right. So that's tonight at the Capitol Theatre in Passaic.
That's right.
How does touring with the Millionaires differ from touring with Squeeze?
Well, not a great deal of difference, except there's more Millionaires than there are on Squeeze. And the one thing that I thought might be not so much fun when I left Squeeze was the whole idea of the fun thing. Because when you're touring with people, I mean, you have to have musicians that you can get along with, and my God, the mice are noisy out there, aren't they? have to have people that you can get along with and have fun with, really. I mean, because you've got to live with people. I mean, it's like picking 6 people off the street and deciding you've got to live with them for the next 4 weeks. And if some of them have got smelly socks or bad breath or particularly unpleasant personal habits, then obviously you've got to find a way around that. But luckily, none of the millionaires do. And so we all have loads and bags of fun. We play stupid games. Bags and bags. We play stupid games. We buy water pistols. We crash cars, you know. The sort of thing that, you know, I mean, I dare say there's not very many normal, healthy people of our age that haven't done those things. You know, we get drunk every night, don't do any exercises whatsoever, think bad thoughts, and have good fun. That's the key to it, actually enjoy ourselves. Because if you didn't, when you're on the road, you'd just go mad. Because you hear constant people saying, oh man, life on the road's going to kill me and I think I'm going to be a drug addict and jump in a swimming pool and die. But we don't find that. I think we actually enjoy going to excesses and living beyond our means and carrying on. I mean, I think it's good fun. That's what it's all about for us. Which is what it was like, really, when I was in Squeeze. That was fun. And if it's not fun, then it's not worth a rub, really. It's not worth bothering to pursue it.
All right, then. Let's hear a song from the Millionaires album. Now,
why not?
What is the name of the album? Just
the name of the album is Jools Holland and His Millionaires. It was going to be Jools Holland and His Millionaires Greatest Hits Volume 7, but we came up a little opposition from the record company, so we've just stuck with the imaginative title of Jools Holland and His Millionaires.
All right, now the first song we're going to hear is Driven to Drink or Driven to Drunk.
Well, it's just Driven to Drink. In fact, there's a misprint on the album, so if you're in a record shop and you see Driven to Drunk on the back of our album, you should adjust it with a pen and then go and show the man behind the counter what you've done, and then he'll insist that you have to buy the record.
All right, then. Anything else you'd like to say about Driven to Drink or Drunk before we play it?
It can be taken in 2 ways. It can either be taken as a story of a man who has been indeed driven to drink, or it could be taken as if you happen to be in your car with a bunch of friends and were being taken off to a pub in the back of somebody's car, and you could play it
literally being driven
to drink.
All right, then. Jools Holland and His Millionaires on WNYU FM Musicview with Driven to Drink. Driven to Drink from Jools Holland and His Millionaires on WNYU Musicview. We're here tonight on Musicview with Jools Holland. Jools, the obvious question, why did you leave Squeeze, or why did you leave Squeeze?
Or why did I not stay with them?
Yeah, right.
Well, the reasons for that are manifold. One is because I wanted to start my own church, which is the Church of the Born Again Greedy Bastards, in which we take large sums of money off of people to perform rather pathetic miracles. I mean, we can do faith healing, like if you've got a bit of dandruff or crab lice or something like that, then we can cure you. In fact, I would say to people, ring up if you've got a particularly unpleasant... Mine are sort of like a big bogey that's stuffed up your nose. We can faith heal it out of you. But unfortunately,
we're
there's no
not
point
live.
Because we're not live. No, this is me. This is the recorded miracle of Jools Holland a few days ago. But the other reasons were really this, that I had a lot of songs, many of them written with Chris Difford, who was the lyricist of Squeeze, that weren't suitable for Squeeze because Squeeze were very diverse anyway, and their albums were very diverse, and a versatile band they were too. And if my songs, some of my songs were on their albums, but if a lot were, then the Squeeze albums would have ended up sounding like a compilation album that gets advertised on the television late at night. And that wasn't really what was wanted by Squeeze or the record company or me or anybody. So, and it wasn't as if they were saying, oh, you can't have your records on that, you can't have your songs on an album. It wasn't anything like that. And so that was one reason, because I had a lot of songs that just I did want to vent and have my own ideas of how songs should be recorded. And Squeeze was a very democratic band. Everybody, like, it was 5 of us and we were each 1/5 of a band. But really I wanted a band that would be, everybody would have 1 vote, but I'd have sort of 4 votes, because I thought that would be fairer. Which is another thing. And also I was quite sure that Squeeze were going to become more successful than they were, and I thought if Squeeze do become successful, then I'm not going to have any desire to get up and leave them, and it's going to take away my my sort of get up and go.
If you felt that if you didn't make the move, then
that's right. Then
it's going to be harder to do.
Exactly. And I mean, I think if you want to do something in this world, on the whole, you have to either put up your hand and have a go, or shut your head and sit down. Really. So we've put up our hand and are having a go.
But the split was entirely amiable, it seems.
Oh yes, certainly. I mean, I see them quite. I mean, they're on the road and we're on the road, so we don't see one another then. But they live near to me, and I still write songs with Chris Difford. And I dare say if we ever needed some guitar playing on our record, Glenn Tilbrook would come and do it. So it's all quite amiable.
They've said so many nice things about you since you left.
Yeah, I know, they can't help it. I suppose, I mean this in a kindly way, but they are grovelly bastards,
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have a word said against them. They're all right. I mean, also the other thing is this: is that, as I say, the one thing in Squeeze that we always did have was lots of fun. And as I say, if there isn't fun in it, I wouldn't do it because it's not what that's what it's about for me.
Does it seem flattering to you that they've had so much difficulty replacing Jools Holland?
Yes, but I don't think you could find a replacement for Jools Holland. You could find you see that's the unfortunate thing is that they found Paul Carrack, who was nothing like Jools Holland but was really great, and unfortunately he left them. I don't know why that was at all. I don't really understand that. And so when he left, I think it was even more tricky. But they found somebody else now, Don, and Don's very good.
From Don Snow, right?
That's it, from Don Snow and his Equatormen.
Yeah, he was in the Sinceros and the Vibrators.
That's right, yes, and someone else as well.
What? Who?
Somebody, Bill Nelson, he was with.
Yeah.
Yes. Still, I mean, I don't really know his history that well, but no, they're all right.
Let's hear another song right now from Jools Holland and the Millionaires, or his Millionaires or the Millionaires.
Oh, it's definitely his Millionaires because I was always very impressed with people's names like Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys, or Hank Williams and his Drifting Cowboys, or Ernest Tubb and his Wandering Penises. And it was names like that where it always had "and his" in it, instead of "the." But so if you were stopped in the street and you could say, "What are you?" You could say, "Well, I'm a millionaire," and you say, "Well, what millionaire?" And you say, "Well, I'm one of his millionaires." And so it's definitely his Millionaires. Yes, let's. Why not?
Okay, so this is Dynaflow.
Yeah.
Which isn't that some kind of record cleaner? What's Dynaflow? I mean,
hardly. I can't believe that you, being a citizen of the United States, aren't familiar with Dynaflow. Dynaflow is, of course, as all you listeners knew, it is, of course, a particular sort of gearbox that was fitted in Buicks from 1947 to 1956.
Known, yeah.
It was such an obvious thing. Yes, absolutely true. It's a Buick gearbox. Yeah.
Do you have a particular interest in Buicks or gearboxes?
Just Buick gearboxes, really. I collect them. No, I have an old Buick at home, and actually this song was written about it because when I first got it, I was so pleased with it. I looked at it, and it's a 1952 Buick, and this is about the people who would have owned the car in about 1958 or 1959 when it was getting a bit old, and rock and roll was first being invented, and so the kids would have bought it then, I suppose. If you see what I mean, second hand, and this is about them.
All right then, on WNYU Musicview, Jools Holland and his Millionaires with Dynaflow. Dynaflow on WNYU Musicview. We're here tonight with Jools Holland and Jools Holland, and the song we just heard, Dynaflow, was from Jools Holland and his Millionaires. One of the things that I'm sort of familiar with you from is your work with other people. Just the work you've done with other people, like you surfaced doing some work with ATV, I remember, about 4 or 5 years ago. And you've also worked with the Electric Chairs, is that right?
That's right. Well, I actually played on their classic record, and I can't really, it's hard. I'll use the word intercourse, so you all know what I mean when I say intercourse. It's that word that you can't say, but I can't say that word, so I'll just say intercourse. And it was "If you don't want to intercourse me, baby, 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 intercourse off." Which was an absolute classic record. Didn't get played on the radio a lot, unfortunately. But no, I used to, and still do sessions for people in London because I mean, there's loads and loads of guitarists and drummers and bass players, but there actually aren't that many, and there's quite a lot of keyboard players because keyboards are cheap and easy to buy now. But there's not that many actual pianists about, or penises, if you know what I mean. And I'm one of the people who's known to be a sound pianist, and so if people will ring me up and say, "Hello, we've got a quick thing we want you to do here," and also a lot of people when there was lots of new things exploding, if you know what I mean, lots of new music was happening. I suppose around 1978 or 79, everybody sort of seemed to know one another, and so through that. Got lots of different sort of just odd bits and pieces, and it's fun doing stuff with other people because they often record in a completely different way to yourself, or look at things in a completely different way. And in fact, just before I came away, we were doing 2 other things with other people. One was I wrote a song with Sting of the Policemen's, and it's a song called Grand Hotel, which is like a boogie woogie ghost story about a haunted hotel called the Grand Hotel. And we recorded that just before we came. And the interesting thing about that, or the fun thing with that, is that it's going to be turned into an animated cartoon, which I should hasten to add Sting is going to pay for. And
which will be really fun because after the cartoon's done and you've got the soundtrack, it'll be done in the same quality as, say, a Disney cartoon, but without the same style, but the same quality, rather than have stuff like Aquabat Boy or whatever it is you get on Saturday morning where just the eyes move and it looks all really shoddy. We don't want that. So that'll be fun. And I was doing some producing as well, which is interesting. This is the other thing with leaving Squeeze. It's not only gives one time to do one's own record, but also and tour, which you could never have time to do if I was doing Squeeze. But also, you can do one-off. It gives you time to do one-off things, like record a song with string or produce somebody.
How did you get into professional music in the first place?
Well, when I was about 14 or 15, and was at school, and in fact at school with Glenn and Chris from Squeeze, and we used to play in little pubs local to us, just as when we left school, when we were about, 15, you were allowed to leave school at 16, but if you didn't go in when you were 15 and you didn't like school, which I didn't, I actually hated school so much. It wasn't just a normal dislike, it was an actual hatred. I still to this day gob at teachers and things like that if I see them walking along and shout abuse at them because I hated it. So anyway, at this tender age, we started playing in pubs, and we just go into a pub with acoustic guitars where there'd be a piano and start playing and say to the landlord, do you want to hire us? Like little pubs in London, just ordinary little family pubs, not rock and roll places or anything. Do you want to hire us? And he'd say yes, and he'd pay us each $20 a night or something like that, which we thought seemed loads of money to us because we'd never had any money before in our lives. And he'd give us all the free beer we could drink, and all our friends would come to the pub. And I think it was then that it dawned on us that
there was more to this thing.
Yes, it was a musician's life for us, because it seemed that we were getting paid loads, drinking all we could, and all our friends came, and we didn't even have to get up early in the morning. And we thought, well, this is obviously what and doing what we wanted to do at the same time, because we would have been playing in the pubs for nothing anyway, you see. So it seemed that it seemed like the perfect job, really. And so that's how, and then from there we got into actually having a band on a more serious level, which in some ways isn't so much fun, because you suddenly realise you've actually got to do it. You've got to do it rather than just doing it because it seems like fun to do. But even so, it's still, the fun thing is underlying in it. Although, without it, obviously you can't buy a new washing machine when you get home, if that's what you want to buy, or sandwich.
Well, be that as it may, let's hear another song.
Why not?
From Jools Holland and his Millionaires. Now, what we're going to hear was the very first single from the band, right?
That's right. Yes.
Bumble Boogie.
The famous Bumble Boogie, which was in fact, as the observant ones amongst you will notice, so please there's no need to ring up, really. It is in fact taken from originally The Flight of the Bumblebee by Rimsky-Korsakov, and it's loosely based on that. And then there was a version recorded of it in 1946 by Jack Finer, and it's very also loosely based on that. And it's our own mental version of this fabulous melody.
All right then, let's hear it. Jools Holland and his Millionaires with Bumble Boogie on WNYU Musicview. Bumble Boogie from Jools Holland and his Millionaires on WNYU Musicview. We're here tonight with Jools Holland. Now, you're in America. How long have you been here for? Right in this stretch.
On this stretch, it's not like, we shouldn't say stretch. It's not like a prison sentence, it's
okay,
good. It's good fun. On this part of the holiday, you should say. How long have you been on this part of the holiday?
How long have you been on this part of the holiday?
Well, it's been a lot of fun. I suppose about a month and a half now so far we've been here, which is about average time for a tour. And if you stay for much longer than 2 months, you start to go over the top and you start to go a bit mad. Because it seems so unusual that your whole life seems like you've always been in a hotel room and living out of a bag. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but then you start going mad and you'll suddenly be in a restaurant and stand on the table and start kicking all the utensils off the table and singing, and have to be restrained by one's friends and fellow band members, and things like that start to happen. Or you just start shouting mindless abuse at people in Howard Johnson's because you think they deserve it. So I think we've been here a month and a half, and we'll be going back in about another week, which should be just about right timing, because it's a month and a half up to 2 months is okay, but then you need a break in between before you start again, really.
Have you been doing a lot of support dates? Or?
They've been very well, but since the XTC, our original plan was to do this XTC tour, and since it was cancelled, our agents, the FBI, have been booking in things at the last moment all over the place, and some of them have been really good, and some have been. I mean, it varies so much. Like I said, we did this place the other day with 2,500 people, and then we could do it. We did a club the night before, and there were like 15 people there because the club had such short notice that we were doing it. So most of the gigs are only booked a week or 2 weeks in advance, and we sort of zigzag across the country as we go.
Yeah. What are you any special plans when you get back to Britain?
Well, yes. As soon as we get back, we're going to make we're going to start recording our next album, because this album is now. It was made almost 9 months ago, I suppose. Actually made. Although it's only been out here a month or so. So we'll want to record that, and because a lot of the songs we play in our live set are not off the old album, but songs that will be on the new album. And also, we're going to make a pilot for a television program here, which will have me and the Millionaires singing, and then me.
Here.
Yeah, for here.
In America.
For a network station, and then it will have me talking to people and playing with different people as a sort of. The format of it and how it's going to be, I don't really know, but I think it'll be fairly mental. And
has this been contracted, or are you just doing it on consignment?
Well, Miles Copeland, who is our manager, the Grand Miles Copeland, has got the money from somebody to make this pilot, somebody in Los Angeles. So we're just going to do it. Though the details of which I can't really disclose at this moment in time, because my legal advisors have told me not to. That's actually a complete lie. I don't know until we get back what's going to happen. And also we're going to have to finish off see what will happen with this cartoon. And so we'll be fairly busy little bees when we get back. And then I guess we'll come back out here again. I mean, we wouldn't really mind doing a tour like the XTC tour. We were supposed to be doing like a whole tour opening for someone, because we tend to go over fairly well with crowds. And so if we had constant big crowds, I think it'd do us good to get us known.
All right, then. I think that about wraps it up for this edition of Musicview. We should once again say you are playing tonight. If people either are going out to see Graham Parker tonight at the Capitol Theater, or maybe we're thinking about it, Jools Holland and his Millionaires will be playing there.
That's right.
And then you're going back home. Do you have any idea when you'll be coming back to the States?
No, I was thinking a month or so, though, a couple of months, something like that. It's so
not
hard
too long.
Not too long, no, I'll be here. So let's not have any broken hearts or tears when I leave the country. I expect there'll be the usual show of people at the airport as I'm leaving, all wailing and blubbering, begging me not to go, clinging at my bits of clothing, with the police fighting them back with truncheons. But I say to those people, I'm sorry I'm going, but I will be back.
And there's a new album. There's a brand new album, Jools Holland and his Millionaires' debut album, ingeniously titled Jools Holland and his Millionaires.
It's imaginatively titled, that.
Yes. Well, I guess that's about wraps it up. Anything more from you, Jools?
No, I think that's about it, except, bonsoir is what I say.
Bonsoir. This is Tim Sommer for another edition of Musicview. I'll see you next Friday at 7:30, or hear you, whatever. Good night.
Bye.